everybody, and welcome back to Memoirs and Some, the podcast. It's your girl, Myia Dominique, of course. And today I have a special guest, my girl, Lashon Holiday, multi-talented entrepreneur. We give her a little round of applause. But, so, Lashon, introduce yourself. Tell these people who you are. Like, what's up?
Hey, everybody. Again, my name is Lashon Holiday. Thank you so much, Myia, for having me. I truly appreciate it.
All the time.
Yes.
Networking. That's what we got to do. So, Lashon, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give them like a 5-second synopsis of you. Because, like, multi-talented means it's a lot going on.
So actually, man, like you said, 5 seconds real quick. So, I'm an author.
Okay.
I'm a film producer, a film writer. My husband and I own a construction company in Georgia. Moved to Georgia like 5 years ago from Chicago.
Okay.
And I just do a lot of stuff. I love helping people, love helping women, empowering women. So
absolutely.
That's just a little bit about me right now. Okay. And I'm a wife and a mother and a grandmother. So
on top of all of that, all of the things you don't get paid for.
Yes.
So okay, that's good. So today, when I texted you and I was like, "Hey, Sean, let's do this," we said, "Okay, what we gonna do? What we gonna talk about?" So I'm like, "Okay, family dynamics. Can it hinder you or help you?" Now, I gave you this because you got a lot of family dynamics. I know business-wise, personal-wise, with your children, with other family members, running businesses, experience with all of that, and then just from a personal level, going through your own struggles, getting to who you are today. You know, that family dynamics is a big thing. But before I get into my piece, what you got to say about this family dynamic thing going on?
Man. So, guys, I literally have a lot going on, right?
Okay.
And it's so much. So I recently just had a 3-year grandbaby that just finished her chemo.
Right.
So she had a brain tumor. So on top of that, it's just a lot, you know, trying to deal with that, trying to be a grandmother, trying to be supportive for my daughter and my, you know, other kids, and also running a business, and then trying to see which way I have support, you know, if I have family support or if I don't have family support, or what I'm doing and trying to grow and build different businesses.
Right.
Like, you know, being hindered in a sense, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you got to have that, like, balance, you know, you got to have that balance with it all. You got to have that balance.
So, Sean, speaking of balance, so my last episode, I was definitely just talking about like not losing yourself and having that balance in between business life, personal life, how you have to be able to like shut that down. So I know with family, and this is just a little bit to piggyback off in my own personal experience, I know with family sometimes we allow family to make us feel like we're unable to do something, or we allow them to shut our ideas down or shut our thoughts down. And I've seen it on both sides. I had a supportive mother. When I say supportive. But then my biological father, there was a piece, and I've almost never opened up about this, but just because it's in this piece right now, it was almost like competition.
Yeah.
Like not wanting to see your kids surpass you. So, I mean, am I on to something? Am I saying? Because, you know, and the only reason I go that far is because who better to talk about your own self? You know, it's easy to talk about somebody else, but the real truth, the nitty gritty is when you talk about your own shit.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. It happens.
It happens. And, you know, it's funny that you said that, because when we talk about family and having that jealousy, having that support. So you mentioned your dad, right?
Right.
And so in my book, I talked about being molested at age 11, right? Never, like, my family never knew about it until 2 years ago when I released my book.
When you released it.
And of course, they was like, "Oh, why you didn't tell us, why this and this?" Because, you know, as a kid, you'd be afraid.
Yeah.
And writing that book actually opened up so many doors for me. Not just writing the book, but when I moved to Georgia, it opened so many doors to the point where I started to meet people. And even before that, I guess I always asked God, why'd you give me the heart you gave me? You know,
right.
My mom was kind of I'm not gonna say she wasn't supportive. It was just like, okay, you know, it is what it is.
There
You know
goes
what I'm
to that
saying?
dynamic. That's what
That dynamic. It's like it is what it is.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And then my dad, so as I always say, my sperm donor, like he didn't raise me. My dad raised me, you know, which is my sister's dad. So that's who my dad is. Like he raised me since I was 5. So that's who my dad is. That's who I look up to. That's who I kind of like, I want my sons to be like. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Well, I have one son, but that's who I want him to be like.
Absolutely.
And my aunt, and I'll just say my aunt, like she's growing up, you know, started the business. So I watched her and I mimicked her of what she did with her business. So I learned like, okay, like we sit back and watch. And I think maybe I was the only one that picked up on it. Like, well, shit, like, okay, I want to do this. I don't want to work for nobody.
Right.
I want to move around. Like, I want to do what I want to do. I want to go because I don't want to work for nobody. But of course, you have to, you know, crawl before you walk. But in that sense, when you go back to you talking about your dad with the jealousy part, it's like she always wants to be the one that held that stick to where you got to come to me if you want to try to get to the next level or if you need something.
So that's where we go to that family hindrance and that dynamics. So I often have seen, and people don't know, and before I even go into that next time, a lot of times we don't try to understand or we don't identify with what something really is. We don't like to call a duck. We like to bullshit around it. We don't like to call it what it is. So a lot of times I found with my family that people have a problem with being successful or having a problem with you being successful. And
because it's you.
Exactly. Or because they have dogged you so bad that when it comes back and it's 360 and it's not what that was, it's hard to eat that shit up again. Man. It's hard to eat those words. You know what, Myia? So then that's when that hindrance, that's what I'm saying. That family dynamics, it goes with these last 2 episodes, Sean. I'm telling you, I did them in sequence for a reason. Support, feeling supported and being supported, and then talking about now moving forward after having that support or not having that support, being able to say, okay, I've accepted that and that's where it is, and then getting that balance in there. Because you're not going to continue to go to somebody's shit who don't keep coming to yours. You're not going to continue to support, or if you do, use a damn fool. But if, you know, that's your choice. Yeah. And again, by choice, it's a matter of my opinion. However, support go a long way. It does. So even piggybacking again off support, when you have that family dynamic, I can name a couple of people where I felt like that wasn't for me or they didn't give me that help that I needed.
That you needed.
And then friends. Friends play a role in that too because, and I'm only going to add that in there, I know I'm throwing a twist at you. Friends. A lot of times we got friends that are like family. They in that family dynamic too because they make up that support system. Then what? Because a lot of times you gotta let them go. You
have to. So it's funny that you said that. I made a comment. I seen a post. Somebody posted or whatever, and it just literally like, if these are not like the words that I really would have spoke. It said like, nobody can bring up shit from my past to belittle me because baby, I did what I did. I said what I said. I learned from it, and I had fun while doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I made it happen. So respectfully, go to hell. You know what I'm saying? So you're not gonna belittle me. And you know what I'm saying? I did what I did. So yeah, I learned from it. Yeah. But at the same time, like you said, let's go back to the friend part. You know what I'm saying? So you have friends that become family. So you don't have that family support. Then you have friends that's supportive, but they're only supportive for what they can get out of you. Okay. Because if you don't give them what they want, then it's like, man, she thinks she this, or she thinks she that, or she got it.
The support becomes less.
But also they figure that, oh, well, she got it, so I don't really have to. You know what I'm saying? She don't need my support.
But that's not.
People at that point, and they get that mixed up.
Yep.
You know, and they don't think about like it. And it also depends on, like I stated before. I wrote down. I said it depends on your family culture. When it comes to success, like positive feedback comes from, you know, being able to move success, you know, when you're up and when you're down. So when you're up and when you're down, you know what I'm saying? It's like knowing your family will be there every step of the way. Yep. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
but that's learned behavior, so that you took it right on the head where I was going. It's learned behavior. It's all about your culture and your family dynamic and what's cultivated within that family structure. So, for instance, in our family, my mom, she didn't play that shit. You sat down at the table and you ate dinner. There was no such thing as you going to eat in your room, you going to eat in front of no game. Fuck that.
Or you playing the game while eating.
Right. My kids know. Now, we do have a TV in our kitchen. I'm guilty. But I cook a lot. My husband cooks a lot. So we often are in there watching cooking shows, trying something different. So we had a purpose, you know, for the, and it's with balance.
Yeah.
However, we didn't play that shit either. You get your ass to that island and you eat that food. You not in no room. That's, now, I'm not saying we got to be a family every day and be round circle. It don't work like that. It's karate, it's basketball, it's life that go on.
It's everything else.
But no, we're not doing that. And so I just say that to say, I gave that example to say it trickles down. It's learned behavior. My mom didn't tolerate it, and hell, her mama didn't tolerate it. DB wasn't playing. Big D, you get your ass to that table. And Big Eddie sure as shit wasn't letting you eat no damn living room.
Yeah, that was my parent. That was my mom and dad. And like I said, when my mom cooked, we sat down together and we had dinner. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We had dinner as a family. Yeah. And nowadays, this is a microwave world. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's a microwave world where everybody wants stuff so like quick.
It's that instant gratification.
It's instant. I was talking to my daughter today, and she said she introduced my grandbaby to the iPad. You know what I'm saying? Because now, like, when she take it, she has a fit. But she's so smart. She's 3. And she can maneuver. She can, like, go to it. She can do whatever it is. But we need that culture where certain things, like, from your past and how you were brought up, like, certain shit you can leave back there. I ain't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But certain stuff, it actually is good. It's healthy for that family because you want your kids to know, like, okay, I want this. This is how I want to see my family. I want us to eat, you know, at least eat dinner together. You know what I'm saying?
And it's something so small, but that goes to something so small as eating dinner together shows how you will grow up, or shows what's being structured for you. Or being laid out. The path that's being laid out. Now we know there are kids and adults who stray from the path that their parents laid and all of that. And I understand it. You know, it happens. Life will have it to be that way sometimes. But if we just take this one example with dinner, and I go a step further, and I say, well, at dinner, that's going to help you develop how you're going to support your dad, mom, sister, brother, cousin, whoever at that dinner table, because now y'all sit down having a conversation.
Together.
It's together,
and you get and that way you get to actually hear what's on each other's mind.
There you go.
And you know, it can be something that's bothering the next person. You know what I'm saying, or bothering you. And you know, we are so afraid to talk about what's bothering us. As I'm gonna just say, as a black family,
just you know what period, I'm saying? Overall,
just period. You know, you hear. Like, you know, or you see white families, they're not racist, don't get, you know what I'm saying, at all, but we are pretty much the only race, if it is, it's like minimum. It's probably like, out of 100%, it's probably like maybe 5% of a family that actually sit down and talk about what's bothering them as kids, you know, because, you know, we hold so much stuff in. But that's because we're afraid we're gonna get yelled at, or we're gonna shut up, go sit down, or you know, stop lying, or ain't nobody say that to you, because that's the hindering part.
That's you know what I'm saying? Because we doing our children a disservice when we do that. So we just piggybacking along, and that's why I love talking with you. You know, a lot of people always tell me I have an old soul, and this is just a side note, but because I vibe with older women, I vibe with women who are season, dropping knowledge. I want to soak it all in. From the first time I met Sean, how can I do this? Show me how to do that. Tell me how to do this. What you think about this? However which way, it was a mentorship from the jump. Then the family part just don't make it no better. And that's Chicago. It's little, like for real. Man. But that piece, for real, it just sheds light on exactly what, you know, just what this podcast about, what the organization about, just me, period. This is me. Anybody know me, like, I'm all for bettering us. I don't come nowhere complaining about no problems without a solution. I've been a problem solver since a shorty. Yeah. So, you know, my grandma will tell you in a minute, that all she gonna do is try to figure it out. So
yeah, and it's so crazy, and I appreciate that. Like, you know, so I always tell people, like, you never know who's looking at you or who's watching you, because you think like, okay, like, I ain't doing nothing, no, I don't mean nothing, and that means so much to me, because my whole thing, I love to help the next person.
Absolutely.
I've never been a envious woman. I always say, can't no woman beat me being me. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what it is.
I stand on that.
And if I can support or I can help the next person,
absolutely,
whatever knowledge I have, I'll give it. You know what I'm saying? Everything is not always about money, especially when it comes to us.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So if I say, hey Myia, hey, look out for this. I think I was telling you about, I do a lot of stuff with Miss J.
Yeah.
And she does this women's retreat every year. And when I tell you that retreat is so powerful.
You was sending me, and I told you.
So I told her, I said, this year you have to go. So she moved it to December.
Yep.
So I still want you to go.
Going.
And it's just like, hey, I'm not just gonna keep some. I said, oh, this future mom and blah blah blah. It's not even like that, because that's not who she is. She's not like that. And again, when we connect, me and her connect, and we just click. I met her through someone else.
But that's how it goes, Sean. And you can't be afraid to allow, and these learned behaviors. And before I get into it, like I say, you know, I talk all around. I be quick on my damn thoughts. But you can't allow that. And when you tie back to that family dynamic as to hindrance or helping, all of that shit is learned behavior. Jealousy, being envious. That shit is learned. Don't no fucking baby come out learning that shit or knowing that shit. It's something that they've seen. Mm-hmm. It's something, even the kids now, they're so little and just so mean to each other. These kids is cruel as hell. Why the fuck do it matter what shoe you got on? Y'all here to fucking learn. It was a time when we was going to school, and I say this all the time, it cut off at my generation. That them 90s babies got the last one that got a little bit of sense, because anything after that is fucking retarded.
I call them Generation X.
Oh yeah.
I call them Generation X.
And they're really X squared, because them motherfuckers is off the chain.
I call them Generation X.
Off the chain.
It's, oh my God, it's so crazy, because even with, and I know I'm not being rude, I'm like picking on my phone, because when you sent me the message, and we actually drove here from Georgia today, 10 hour ride.
I know.
Like, oh my God, like, come
on. Get it together on the road.
Like,
I know.
Like writing, like, okay, what can I talk about? So I literally said, like, you acclimate unwanted things, such as like when you have that negative and that hindrance coming from your family. I said you acclimate. I said unwanted things such as stress, depression, emotion, detachment, not feeling you have a safe environment to express yourself, and that goes back to kids. You know what I'm saying? Not just kids, but us as adults, like even in our family,
we raise these kids,
and it could be even your significant other, or like your sibling, like a siblings, like your brother. You can't talk to because of you think like, okay, it's not a safe environment for me to express my feelings, because if I do, then it's gonna be a problem. And I said they want to know, like, how can I build you up? How can I tear you down? So it's like that hindrance when you don't have that support, it hinders you. But if you have that support, it's like, man, okay, sis.
It's a proven statistic, Sean, that those with support. I watch this show called True Crime Story.
Oh, I
with Remy Ma.
Yeah.
And she narrates the shit out that show.
She does.
But when I tell you, I love the show because it just goes to show so much black excellence. Black and Latino American, because we are the minorities, and regardless as to what people may think, I know it's a whole lot of us that wish we was, but we are. Now there are those of us who are in middle class and high class areas, but we are still, as a culture and as a race, a minority. And so when you look at that and you see all of the 360 changes that these people had going in and out of jail when they decided, okay, I wanted to change my life and start a business or be independent or whatever that case was, the ones that didn't have that support, those was the ones who went back.
Went back. And you know what? It's so crazy when, and you know what? It has a hurt, but sometimes you have to move on. So when me and my husband, when we had our lunch for our construction company. Okay. I had friends fly to Georgia to come out to our lunch.
Ain't that amazing?
But guess what? I had not one family member, not one, come out to fly out. Like, like your daughter, your sister, your aunt, your cousin, like your niece, like she's a black female minority woman who's starting a construction company in Georgia, her and her husband.
But do you think it's because, Sean, the way that they were raised? Because I know I look at some of my aunts and uncles and just cousins, and not just my mom's or my father's immediate siblings, but even their aunts and uncles. And you go back generations, and Sean, I often see the difference in how they, number one, parent, but then number two, just how they go through life. If you just look at something so simple, and I'll just give you an example. You ask somebody that's maybe 80 maybe 80 plus about gas. Oh, gas is high damn motherfucker right now. You know they gonna go off. Yeah. I remember when gas was 25 cents. So you see that simple changes just environmental and setting. When you was talking about a safe place and a safe haven, excuse me. Environment makes a big difference too, because that's why I said generations back, the environment was different. Yeah. Things was changed. We got all this stuff now. We got social media. Girl, shit, we in an in-home studio.
That's shit.
Right. So technology is a motherfucker.
It changes, but the crazy thing about it is my immediate family, we're a handful. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like that part. It's not like this person
got to be way drawn out.
Yeah. Like I'll be 50 next year in April. You know what I'm saying? So people like, you'll be what? I'm like, I'll be 50. I'll be 50. I will be 50 next year in April. So my cousins, it's like, even with certain family members, more like jealousy. Like, I'm not finna help her. And I've had people in my family. My aunt had a trucking company, a construction company. But my whole thing is like, you didn't go follow through with it. But guess what? I know how to do it. I succeeded. So how about you say, you know what? I'm going to show you, make sure you got all your I's dotted, your T's crossed and all that. And it's a show, Family Business. I don't know if you watched that. With the Duncans.
Oh, yeah. Now I'm not as caught up. I'm still fairly.
I love that show because, not, condone to what they do, but I love it because everybody that's tied into the Duncan family, any business that they do, is a family member that they have
that's already doing it.
That's in the network. So everybody, like, in their family has a role. They play a role. It's not like, everybody in it with this cousin out here, they don't have a role. You know what I'm saying? Even though he might have outsiders, but everybody in his family has a role.
And see, I like stuff like that too. And that's what goes to a lot of my business right now is being built off that. My stepchildren will tell you right now, they got first dibs on any fucking job. They already know. My mama, first dibs. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I think it's going to be a challenge working with my mama and kids? Hell fucking yeah.
That's what it is. Because my son already told me, like, I said, you not finna go on a construction site. Hey, this is my mama shit. You're not finna do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the foreman. Like, it's all, but one thing, like my son, like, when he's in a position to handle business, he know how to handle business. Yeah. Like, when it comes to...
But that's what you instilled.
Exactly. And my kids, my daughter.
Instilled it in that Cheyenne hustle her ass off.
In a minute. And like, the only thing with her, I told you need to fix your attitude.
And that's going to come, though. That's going to come. It's going to come, Sean, because I can remember being 19, 20, 21, and popping my neck and feel like you couldn't tell me shit. And at that point in time, I had 2 fucking kids in the apartment, so you really couldn't tell me shit.
Because you had, like, I'm
on my own. You definitely ain't. But I had to learn that, yes, even though you're grown and you are on your own, you still have to learn. But I revert back to how being raised in the structure of my family, although my mom was a single parent predominantly, I still was able to acknowledge, and revert back to say, you know what, yeah, my mama did teach me that. You stray. I was one of them kids. I strayed a little bit too. I did what the fuck I wanted to do. I didn't want to be bothered with her ass. She know.
But guess what?
But
that taught you and it brought you and it made you the woman who you are today.
Oh, yeah.
And the entrepreneur who you are today.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And it was okay. Like, even the bad comments, the negativity,
yeah,
that made me feel good, Sean. I
because
did shit.
It's mental.
Yep, I did shit at that point. Now I'm like, I gotta prove them wrong. Ain't no way in hell I'm finna let that shit stick on my name. I gotta prove them wrong.
And stuff like that, it hurts. It's like an open wound that you pouring salt on.
It does.
But that's what it does. It actually strengthens you.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's like, you know what? You look back and you say, no, you know what? This has to work.
Yeah,
it has to work.
Now,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes. And that's how I felt, you know, going into all of this, Sean. You know, I don't have 1 million viewers. I don't have a fan base that's ridiculous. Exactly.
Yet.
I don't have it yet, but I'm not gonna. I gotta start somewhere. And when I gave up everything to say, you know what, it was a whole lot of shit that was said. You know, you're gonna leave. Yes, I'm a nurse, and I left being a nurse full time to do contractual work or what I really want to do, because my nursing, the helping is what I needed. The medical terms is what's really the nursing piece. That's where the degree come from. Because the helping, that come from them.
They come from your heart. But you know what? And I'm not even gonna really quote scriptures because we're drinking, but it's just like all you need is a mustard seed of faith. But my whole thing is you speak those things and be not as though they were. Because right now, guess what? You have to start somewhere. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And all it takes is a vision.
Yep.
And if you believe in your vision, guess what? Your vision can take off and go from here to here. You know what I'm saying? Because, and let's go back to your family hindering you.
Yep.
Family hurt is the worst hurt.
Yep.
Because it's your family. You expect them to do stuff.
And that be the problem right there. I'm going to stop you right there. That expect word. That expect word finna take us to a whole nother place because, and look y'all, it's Friday night, we talking shit. Because when I tell you that expectation word, it'll do something, it'll make them little hairs come up. Because when you expect for someone to be a certain way to you or be in a certain place or have a certain expectation just on that person in general, you bring your then hurt from like right here to like now sky high.
Like it's like,
because now it's just like, oh my God, you become so devastated. And a lot of times it's because, again, that lack of teaching. Being taught in our household is like slim to none. Yeah. When I look at the little kids that my kids grow up with, and I'm just being honest. I'm a little tipsy, but I'm being very honest when I say these kids don't have no fucking guidance. And not even from the teenagers, I'm talking about the little 8-year-olds.
Man.
That the shit that was text to my fucking son's phone the other day, I didn't even know an 8-year-old know how to cuss that damn good.
It's the structure. When I say a hindrance, my husband said something about that little boy that really stuck to me. He on his way to a bad road. He is really on his way to a bad road. That's what he said. And I said, why you say that? He said, because those type of kids, he don't have no structure. Nobody is telling him right or wrong. He don't have no type of manners, and I was working with him because my baby really was vibing with him. He really thought he had a good friend, and he did. But when you are raising your children, I'm sorry and forgive me if I'm just that overprotective mother, but I just refuse to have my kids be around somebody who, even if I could have made a difference and seen a little difference in them, I probably would have been okay. Mm-hmm. But because it wasn't no acceptance even from me with the guidance, you can't be over here. And that's the thing, because it starts at home. Yeah. Because you have some, and I promise you, and I get so mad because even like in Georgia, so many people. Just the atmosphere, just the peace. Like when my grandkids, they go to school, it's a totally. We've been to Chicago all our life. We've been in Georgia. It'll be 5 years in May, and just that atmosphere, just everything is totally different. So the structure starts at home.
Now, did you move for a different atmosphere, Sean?
I moved for a different atmosphere And I was just over Chicago. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Okay.
and then by me being in the entertainment field and doing like filming and music and movies, it's like, let me move here. But just when I got down there, it was just like, man, you know what I'm like, I miss my family in Chicago, but I don't miss Chicago. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm here for the weekend, but it's like, how soon can we go back? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And my grandbabies, like the school when these kids down there, when they have their like football games and they t-ball, you think the Bears or somebody playing,
they had that shit sold out.
Like literally like sold out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm
that's
like,
how it's
man.
supposed to be.
And like I said, structure starts at home. So this baby is saying all this stuff, and then you got the ignorant ass mothers or parents who my baby ain't doing. They get that ghetto, the neck roll, and all this like shit. No, don't let your kids see that. Instead of you talking with some sense.
Adult and saying, hey, this is what's going on. This is what happened, and let's talk about it like adults to try to figure it out.
And that's my thing. People don't know how to do that. I'm like, okay, I had brain surgery 7.5 years ago. It'll be 8 years in November.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, Lord, like you left me here for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So it's like with my grandkids, I try to instill in them, pay attention to what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Make sure that you treat people how you want to be treated. Okay. Make sure that you're not being, just because you see somebody else do something, you are be mean to somebody else. That, I'm gonna be mean to them too. No, because you don't know what's going on in their household. Right. This is not what goes on in our household. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like we don't do this over here. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that you be polite. You want to make sure you want people to say, "Oh, hey, here go." I'm gonna use Promise. "Oh, hey, here go Promise." Or here go to Myia. Versus, "Oh my God, here go the bullies. Here come the bullies." They go the other way. That comes with that support. Right. It goes back to hindrance. Like, where's that family support at? Mm-hmm. Because a family can hinder you, or they can support you. One or the other. Which one? You, as the Matrix says.
Y'all, I was texting.
That's my
I'm texting.
She's multitasking.
I was gonna say I'm multitasking. This ain't nothing but business. It ain't nothing to be rude at.
It's multitasking. But my alarm did go off, but I apologize for that. But this alarm has been set for 7.5 years. 9 to 9. The 9 to 9. Like absolutely. That's my medicine. But no, that's my medicine. But I mean, I just look at it and, like I said, go back to just talk about family hurt. When I told you, I said family hurt is the worst hurt. And not to have that support of your loved ones versus a stranger can really take a toll on a person and how they can become successful, build their dreams. Because sometimes a person can think, I don't have my family support, so you know what, maybe I ain't going to build this dream.
Or they just feel like because the way they were raised, I see a lot of people with the negative energy. My husband often talks about people with negative energy. He hates that shit. Don't come over here with that bullshit.
That's my husband. He's
because
leave it alone.
Like, what the fuck? Like, just let that shit. Like, he's not with it. He's not with none of that shit. But when you think about it, you ever been around somebody, everything they say come out their mouth
is negative.
Nothing, or everything you say is an excuse as to why it can't be done. I don't believe in the why. I tell people all the time, like, I don't know. I just don't give that.
I don't believe it. One word I hate is try. I'm trying. No, you're not trying. You're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Because the action of is doing. It's current.
It's current.
It's present.
Like, don't say, like, I'm going to try to do this. No, do it.
But that's selling yourself short. And again, we're going to revert back. I'm going to always revert back. Our biggest topic, family dynamics, family structure, and how things are being raised. How you're being raised, of course. But how things are being brought to you. When you don't have someone that's speaking that positiveness over you and speaking that type of, having that type of aura, but speaking that type of energy over you, you usually don't you don't see an outcome of that because
You don't.
because it's not there.
But you know what? I look at it like this. And one thing, like, my husband don't like. I'm like the outgoing one. I'm the one that talks. I'm the one that, you know, I'm a people person. My husband sit back. He don't say nothing. Like, he just look, you know. But me, one thing he'll say is stay away from negative, and he try to stay away from negative energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And his thing is, if they don't mean you no good, stay away from them.
Absolutely.
And one thing he'll tell me, if nobody's gonna support us, guess what? Or support you, then I mean you have to support yourself. And I've learned that the hard way is that whatever it takes, because guess what? I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for somebody else that needs it, if that makes sense. Because most people think, well, oh, I gotta be successful for me. No, you're being successful in doing what you do for other people because other people need you. Because you never know when a person is on their very edge of a breakdown, of a suicide or anything. That very word that you could speak to a person might be that word that saved them from going over the edge. So you're not building your success for you, you're building it for them.
That dynamic. If all that support comes from how you raised, all of that just plays into, and you absolutely right, I couldn't agree with you more. So of course y'all know I have my end cards. Sean don't know, but these end cards gonna get you to where you need to be. They're gonna ask you different things, and it's just gonna go along with what we talk about. I only pick stuff that flows with the topic because that's how you tie it in. Often, you know, I like shit that challenge my intellect. You know, I'm a curse, you know, I'm gonna have my little ghetto moment, but I'm gonna always challenge my intellect to say, how can I look at this different? What can I do different? How can I see something different? And because you are already an author, a published author, and I'm up and coming, you know, this is nothing but greatness sitting here, you know, of course, but then just to be able to have somebody to give you that other piece, give you that other side, you know, you've been around the track a few times. This is my first run, and can I say I am very pleased with where the hell I'm at? Absolutely. I just had to say that, like, I can believe the subscribers. It's a little bit to somebody else, but it's enough for me to say, wow, somebody is listening. And then to see the comments, you know, I want to see that, to know, like, wow, you know, I am touching somebody, or I am, what I'm talking about is for real. Like, it's the uncomfortable conversations for me. It's definitely the uncomfortable ones, because nobody's going to have it. They don't want to have it. Nobody's going to sit up and tell how their family structure is messed up and how it may or may not have hindered them. I got a couple of family members right now, whether I say their name or not, they know. They know some of that crazy shit. They did some of that stuff, and now look at me now. But I thank you, and I still love you irregardless.
And then
the love don't change because you decided you wanted to have that in my heart. God had my path irregardless.
And then they hate to see it. And I always say they don't hate what's happening. They hate that it's just you doing it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. And you have to look at, like, I'm gonna succeed anyway. You know what I always say? We were born to win, but destined to lose.
Right.
Because that's what this world actually sets us up for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They set us up for that.
Okay, so we're going to do 2 cards, because then we're going to get out of here. I ain't going to hold you. Okay, so the first time we met, what do you remember thinking about me that still holds true now? This shit gonna be interesting.
Gosh. So
it's gonna be interesting.
The first time we met, you know me, like I say, you already know, like I say what's on my mind. I just say,
I don't know if I want to hear this.
But I think the first time I met her, and I'm like, when it comes to family, like I'm so protective. Right. Like, I'm like, okay, who the hell is she and what's she doing? Like, do she know what she doing?
Not even knowing I was that same little girl.
Not even knowing that, like, literally that you was that same little girl. But I'm like, okay, who the hell is this and what is she doing? What she want? What's her motive? Because there was always somebody that was there they had a motive to take. You know what I'm saying? And that was my thing.
But that's everybody. And you know, nobody, I wasn't even offended. I was just like, she don't even know who I am. You know, that was what was crazy for me. my first impression as an adult, because as a kid, you know, when you see somebody as a kid, it's like, oh, that's my cousin Sean. You just talk, that's your cousin, that's your auntie, whatever. Mm-hmm. But as an adult, and I'm like, damn, Sean doing good. She got a book out. Like, you know, it was amazing. So for those who were listening to the audio, I did have to cut off because the length of time went too long. So at that point, I had to make another video. However, thank you for tuning in to Memoirs and Some, the podcast. I am your host, Myia Dominique, and I'll see y'all later. See you next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Peace.